I'm Spirit Moose Christian Tejeda. This is James, Matt, Instagram.
What's up, you guys? My name is James Bixler. I am Travel Seeker Official on Instagram, and I shoot street photography and travel photography, so hit me up.
And then
I'm Matthew Seraphin, Instagram handle Matthew__Seraphin. I don't have a niche yet. Still trying to figure it out.
Okay.
Dang right.
And I think the topic at hand was going to be
Photography?
Right. And kind of where you see, like, not necessarily just photography, but where you see it taking you
In the future.
In the future. So photography and then YouTube or whatever it is. That,
And also what drives you, right?
Yeah, right. So I don't want to start this. I would like you to start, and then I can end it.
Do it clockwise? Yep.
Yeah.
Correct.
And transition from there.
Awesome. So the question is like what photography is to me in a sense, right?
Right.
So I don't want to really give the like cliche answer of photography being a moment captured in time, right?
Yeah.
I personally think of photography as a way for the viewer or someone else who doesn't have the means to travel to see something they haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And the feeling that I have when I take the photo and stuff like that, when it comes into traveling into a distant place or a foreign place that most people can't get into.
Right.
That feeling that I feel, I want to portray in that photo, so that way the viewer can feel the exact, almost the exact expression that I felt, leading them to almost wonder what I was doing or what could be for them as well.
Okay. How about you, Matt?
Well, damn, James. Hard to come off that one. What photography is to me is a way of expressing myself. Pretty much the same thing. Be able to show the people who follow me like the places they can go to and see how beautiful it is. Show the world. I'd like to explore the whole world. So just be able to show them what they can't see, if that's because they're low on funds or whatever the issue is, but be able to get that imagery out there, be able to get all that pictures out there and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like where you're coming from. I think for me, because I don't have too heavy of a photo background, but I still understand like the meat of like photography and what it means. At least in a general sense. I think for me, it's telling a story and how heavy a story can impact someone's life. And I think that when I dream about film or I dream about photography or anything like that, it has to do with conveying this grand idea, whatever the idea may be, but finding the perfect way to like convey this mosaic, if you will, like to people. And I think it's hella important because there's a lot of people creating content, creating photos, doing whatever the fuck they're doing. But for me, I think that you can wholesomely make something and make it genuine and make it like a very solid piece of work. And through all the bullshit and through all this like oversaturation of content, there are a few people who are making content that make good content. Yeah. And I think that's super fucking important to me. And that's kind of why I do film and video and why I'm like pressing so hard for it. So, yeah.
I dig that.
Yeah.
So when you say that you want to like bring others to your film and stuff like that, what do you mean by that? Like what would you want the viewers to see of the world through your eyes?
I think for me, I want to create something. I want to create something. What are you guys doing?
I'm just sitting here vaping.
He's about to make an AMSR video just right here on the fucking thing.
No, it's 100% okay. But I want to create something that engages people, and not just necessarily people that are kind of consuming what I make, but like in this instance right now, right? We're all here talking. We linked up over just the infatuation with photography and exploration in a sense. And as we were out in the mountains earlier, I know I was fucking like hyperventilating and shit. And, like,
Almost dying.
Yeah,
it's all right.
Like struggling through the shit. Like I was thinking, and I was like, this is kind of like a necessary evil, because you don't come across people who are passionate about the same things very often, regardless of how we are passionate about them, whether we see them differently or not. Like it's still there. It's still like a relativity, and that relativity brings people together. So for me, that means so much to me, because I need people like that around me, because there's no other way to be successful. If you think about all the people who make content at a higher level,
they all have that select group.
Exactly.
You need people to feed off of
right.
each other.
Peter McKinnon has Casey Neistat, has I don't know if you know the black dude Marcus.
Yeah.
Marcus Brown.
Mm-hmm.
They, you have to have a community of people you can confide in, that either push you or make you want to make something better and help you and are a resource to you. And in our situation, being out here in Italy, finding those people is very limited. And when they are there, I think that you use that as a resource, and you kind of link onto that and you make something good of it, you can fucking make something great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I fully support that at all, like completely. I personally, I think having a group that is like tight knit, like I hope we will be, when it comes to this idea that I had about going up into the mountains and going to take this photo of the peak. Sadly, we weren't able to take a photo of that peak, but I think that just the bonding experience of going through that all together, and hopefully multiple experiences after this, would be like beneficial to us all, especially since you have the knowledge of videography, and I have and me and him have the knowledge of like photography. I think the combination of that will be such a cohesive unit, and like really take us to the next level.
I agree. 100%.
I do too.
So my question for the both of you would be, in photography, what is it that both of you as individuals focus on when you take photos? Okay,
so what I focus on when it comes to taking photos is the object of the unknown, in a sense.
Right.
So when it comes to taking photos, and I remember telling you this earlier, that when it comes to taking photos, I always tend to go off the trail.
Yeah.
So take this for example. I took a photo of Lake Bled recently, and I went up to Slovenia, traveled up there, went to all of like the regular places that the majority of people go to, but the only difference was I went and found a different altitude or a different trail that most people have never tried, or I even made my own trail, So a lot of photos of Lake Bled, you would go over and go up to the castle and take a photo of Lake Bled from there, or throw up a drone and take a photo from there. I actually hiked through the trails and took my own trail. I completely made my own trail to go down to the base of the lake, so that way I can take a photo from there. And that's something that most people will never see from that perspective. So when I go out and take a photo, I want to, even if it's somewhere completely oversaturated with content from other people, like say Paris or something like that, I will find a place where no one else has ever seen a photo, like a back street or something like that. Yeah. So where no one else was ever seen a photo from that perspective before, and take a photo from there, so that way they can see just what unknown areas of that area is. So I understand. I definitely understand.
What you, Matt?
I agree. That, like, the different perspective you could get by going off the path that everyone else takes. It gives a whole different look, a whole different mood and perspective. But with photography, I like more of like genuine people's emotions, like showing how they truly feel. I don't like doing the whole portraits of like people posed and like pretending to be something that they're not. I like having the genuine reaction of people, the genuine smile, the genuine reaction to whatever that they're doing, whatever action that they're doing. So it's more like of a biographical photography type thing of like taking it how it is, not how you want it to look, you know?
Yeah, I fuck with that a lot, actually.
I explained a little bit earlier, but the whole creating a story, and guys might be trying to transition like slowly into film or videography, at least videography in that sense. But I want to say film is so much about story, and at least if you're doing it properly, it's so much about story development and how you portray just a rhythm of ideas over a set amount of frames. And I think that catching those things appropriately can just fucking change the game for people.
Yeah,
It really can.
I thoroughly believe in that. The like the idea of photography is to tell a story in 1,000 words, you know, like but all through a single frame, right? But when it comes to videography, you have multiple frames to tell a story, so therefore that 1,000 words turns to 10,000, you know. And I think because I'm going to be starting videography pretty soon, and eventually creating my own YouTube channel filled with B-roll and travel and a whole bunch of activities that you guys will be a part of. So you guys will probably see more of him. But
100%. I like the shout outs.
definitely, yeah. But the fact that videography says just that backstory of that photo, it means so much that a person can not only see the photo and the story of which the photo is taken, but also the journey to get there.
Right.
And I think that like the viewers will honestly feel more a part with the video itself when they feel the journey along with it, rather than just looking at Instagram and thinking, wow, that's a cool photo,
Which I think is a really good idea.
It's a huge idea. It's absolutely insane. Like when it comes to if you go and scroll on Instagram, right, and you see a photo that you really, really like and you wonder how it was taken, the videography behind that photo would just project that journey and that feeling of travel and adventure.
Right.
You know? And I think that would be super beneficial to the viewer.
I agree. I think that if it's done right and you kind of learn the meat of video, because the big idea behind that is getting people enticed into the trip. Yeah. And then obviously the end game of all of those videos is going to be, this right here is the photo. This is the trip. This is it.
What it took.
And to kind of bring it back to that, I don't know if you saw Peter McKinnon's short film that he worked on. Mm-hmm. Did you watch the full thing about the photo up in, I think it was in Canada?
Yeah, definitely.
About that shot.
Yeah, the bucket shot is exactly what it's called.
Exactly.
And he talked a lot about how the shot is so worth it because the trip in itself, like the journey and the ass pain of going through those motions to get those shots.
It's not the shot that counts, it's the journey that comes, you know?
Yeah.
That shot, I was just gonna say, like, that shot like has a whole story behind it of like how to get there. And that's like when you look at the picture that you've taken, you're thinking about what it took to get there, and like all the memories that you'll have with those people.
Yeah.
And, like what?
Yeah. Like something like I saw on Peter McKinnon's grid recently, way recently, you know?
Yeah.
That like he had that photo of the coffee cup. Remember in that video, like he met a bunch of random people that were all they all made coffee when it came to that bucket shot. They were all on the lake and they were waiting for that right shot, that right moment, right?
Yeah.
And they all made coffee and they made friends based off of just a cup of coffee, something so simple. That right there, creating the like long-lasting relationships based over a small cup of coffee is something that's just so precious that we don't get too much at all in this world. Like this world of media, you know, you just sit here and you sit on your phone and you go, wow, I wish I can do that. But there's people like us and Peter McKinnon that actually go and do that.
Yeah.
And I think it's just insane. There was this one video recently, like it's probably on all your guys' feeds right now, up in your like must watch list or whatever. Like it's about a surf photographer who like goes and takes photos all around the world in this huge surfs and stuff like that to go and get that ultimate shot to put on a magazine, right?
Yeah.
He when I was watching that video, he asked the question, "What would you do to get that ultimate shot?" What would you do to get that ultimate shot? And that really hit home. Like I mentioned to you guys multiple times that I had created a homemade whiteboard, right?
Yeah.
That I am now writing down the next shot and planning it out, you know, so that way I can get that next ultimate shot. And I think that the fact when he asked, "What would you do to get that ultimate shot?" it kind of like jolted my system, you know. So I'm gonna ask you the same question.
How far are you willing to go?
How far are you? Yeah, exactly. How far are you guys willing to go? Like, what would you do to get that ultimate shot, and what would that ultimate shot look like in your mind?
Depends how prepared are we?
Well,
just about this.
All right.
I was like,
so the timing restraint isn't. That's not like anything that needs to. If you had all of the options that you could, and even if it means waiting a couple months to train for whatever shot you're gonna get,
right?
What would you do, and what would you consider to be the ultimate shot?
So for me, if we wanna bring this full circle and make it as relevant as possible, we can talk about this morning when we were hiking up a part of the Alps, which is what Piancavallo is. Mm-hmm. I was thinking that entire time, just like I do a lot of things. I do a lot of things to push myself, like mentally and physically, and hiking is never one of them. I mean, like
I'm sorry about that. Okay, I didn't know.
I cycle like very extreme limits, and like I push myself very consistently. But like I was thinking about how willing I was to just kind of keep going when I know I was like, I probably don't got to do this shit. But see, that's the side of me when it comes to photography that I haven't really explored yet. And a part of that for me is realizing that you got to be willing to fucking just say fuck it and just like and tough that shit out, because one thing that I can kind of relate to that portion of it is, through the pains of life, people who are passionate find the success and the happiness that they want. And in those situations where shit really does fucking suck, we know what we were fucking looking for. It's just getting to that shit stupid fucking difficult. And if you're not prepared,
right,
if you don't got the fucking boots to make the
boots, the jacket,
learned that the hard way.
If you don't got the fucking boots to make the climb, you're not gonna make the climb. Like
definitely not.
And that shit sucked. And I think that we learned that shit the fucking hard way. Yeah. But I can say wholeheartedly that I would do it again. with a little bit more preparation and a little bit more understanding of fucking the cliff that we were on.
What we were
That
doing.
was straight up. I don't know if you guys knew that, but that was straight up. Like it was a vertical
That
climb.
was a last minute thing.
I don't hyperventilate over shit, but climbing a mountain, that shit is not my forte.
I want to let you guys know that we weren't climbing just a trail. We were off trail hiking. All right. So we were just making our own trail as we went away. So like that was I wouldn't say a mistake, but definitely a learning experience.
The character developing
Easily.
experience.
Yeah.
Easily.
Easily.
Never regret. Only character developing experience.
I had a lot of fun personally, but like in all
I did too. We got
honesty,
some
we
good
wouldn't
shots.
have made it
Yeah,
too far
we did.
farther.
We got some dope
That was
pictures.
a banger, for sure.
Got some dope pictures.
Definitely. He had some really nice shots in total. I mean,
I was just like, just trying to tell myself to take this goddamn picture. My hands are frozen. Like, do I really want to take out my camera? I have to. We came up all the way up here. We got to do it.
Yeah, I had to make that decision
Yeah,
too. When I
you
was
wouldn't
when I was up
climb
on
in the
top,
fucking-
when I went up top the like gondola or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I had to take off my gloves because they were soaked with all of like.
That was
the
better
snow
than
and rain.
the gloves.
It was-
Cold metal.
It was cold metal was better than the gloves. Okay, so I took off the gloves and I just like my hands were frozen already, so I just had to work through the pain and get those photos that I needed to get, you know. And sometimes it's just a mental toughness that gets you through that. If we were better prepared, we would
that would have been different.
It would have been completely different. We would have had like warmer hands and warmer feet, and
warmer legs, you know.
and definitely probably would have made it at least to about half the peak. All right, because that
probably
peak,
could have made it the whole way.
we could have, especially if we went around the back way where it would have been a longer hike, a longer trek. But you know, I think we would have made it.
I knew we were. Listen, like I'm a very observant soul, and like I watch everything, and it's my thing. It's what I do, and I knew we were fucking up. I knew we were fucking up. The second I saw people coming downhill, I saw them coming downhill.
They had the walking sticks.
The sticks and shit.
I
was like, what are we doing?
I remember this guy looking back at me and just going. He had this look on like sheer terror. He was like, I'm done with this. This is. There's something wrong with these people, you know. And like these people, he was talking about us. So
I was just like, I know better. I know that I shouldn't be doing this.
No,
but I really want to do it. I really want to do it though.
Oh yeah, that's a definite like that peak. Like I don't care if it's gonna take us a year.
Yeah.
We will conquer that peak.
I'm
all
down
right,
for- I'm
we
down
will
for it.
conquer that peak and see over the vastness of Italy.
If we get, I want to say if we get to a day and we go through, we do it right, and we kind of come to where the weather towards the peak isn't shit.
Yeah, no joke.
Like there's not like a fucking wind chill, and my boots are like, I don't know why my
I'm
feet,
blizzarding outside, you know.
but we do it right. I think that like getting my drone up there, because that was like one of the biggest things.
Oh, that was definite. Yeah.
Like I was talking to him about it, but like when you climbed the fucking thing, it's like this gray bar fucking thing that gondolas go on. I wanted to like put my drone up. I was tempted to kind of do it, but I was like, if I put it up right now, I'm probably going to lose my fucking drone in the fucking snow.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I could get like a 360 of you on the top of that, like that would have been gnarly. But
That would be actually. Why
You
did you
didn't
bring that
think of that?
360? Did you think about bringing me that
well,
360?
the whole reason I haven't touched it is because I don't have a fucking iPhone.
Okay, so before I buy it or something like that, just hit me up if we ever go out again, and I'll link it up to my phone and stuff like that. We'll have a ball with that.
Super useful.
Definitely. I mean, like the more video content, the better, right?
I mean,
So-
you just record until you
Record everything.
Record until the battery goes out. Am I right?
Or the memory card's full.
That's true.
Remember that.
Mine just hit that. All right?
You got 8
Runner.
gigs of RAM.
Calm down.
You can't do shit with 8 gigs of RAM.
Hey, no, I've been doing a lot of shit with that 8 gigs of RAM, all right? Okay, I got 17.3K, all right? I've been doing decent.
No, you're not wrong. But yeah. Just that whole time I was sitting there and I was thinking, I was just like, because I know everyone has their different strokes and everyone does different things, and this is entirely understandable. However, as we were going up that mountain, I was sitting there and I was thinking, and I was just like, I know that this is not what I do, and that I was just, cuddled up with my fucking girlfriend. I'm sitting here fucking chilling. I don't know why in my fucking life. And I pulled up to your Jeep.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking like, we're about to go out. It's about to be chill as fuck. We're about to have a good time. Like just, easy hike. And
Not even.
Easy.
I warned you guys it was going to be a hard
and as soon as that shit set in for me, I was like, what the fuck am I doing? But like, I was going through the motions of it, and in my mind, I was like, I know I'm not a bitch. I know that there's like tougher shit in life, and on the other end of this, there's some sort of beauty to it, and you got to be willing to put yourself in that position. And when you're talking about getting that shot, that photo is on the other end. Is on the other end of the bullshit. And
sometimes you have to just ride it through.
And you have to like just ride that shit through. And I've never done it before with hiking. I've never even hardly fucking hiked, maybe once before in my life. But I would do it again, and I would do it until
Definitely.
and I would put so I know you watched the video, but that video Amalfi Coast, the Amalfi Coast video on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So in that video, there's one instance that I think kind of changed my mindset, and it was when I jumped off
the cliff, right?
The cliff.
That cliff, yeah.
And
I saw that.
That's the first time I've ever done that in my life.
You've never gone cliff jumping?
No, never. But
You better buckle your seatbelt.
Were you scared a little bit?
I was scared as fuck.
Terrified.
I was terrified.
How tall was it?
It was maybe
you say?
like 20 feet, 20, 30 feet.
Okay,
like
the very first.
It looks taller from above.
The very first cliff jump I've ever done was in Hawaii, and it was a 70-foot.
Right.
Okay?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Hey.
Your first one.
Hey, I'm sorry, all right? So, like, the very first one, what it was is, like, me and my family were hiking and stuff like that, and we stopped at a beach, and I saw this cliff, and I was like, awesome, cool. I saw a person jump off of it.
Yeah.
It was
I want to do it.
But I didn't think that it was going to be anything big, so I just walked up and stuff like that, and I saw this guy jump off as I walk up. So as I walk up, I'm taking off my shirt and stuff like that, and I just run. Like I just take off, and I jumped off of a 70-foot cliff into 10-foot surf.
Yeah, see,
and I jumped it 7 times afterwards. It was the best. It was okay. Like once you, the message to the viewers is that once you like conquer that big obstacle, you will do it tenfold, okay? Because once you do it, your fear from that will not.
It's awesome.
It will like become minuscule. You know?
Did you have shoes on?
No, I didn't have shoes.
That sounds like it hurts.
No, I didn't have shoes on. I did not at all.
Barefoot, 70 feet?
Barefoot, 70 feet.
That sounds like it hurts.
Hey, no, I did a front flip off of that on the 7th try. All right, so like
it wasn't the same for me, and the only reason I can say that was because my mindset. I didn't hesitate, and when I mean I didn't hesitate, there was like a split second of like hesitation.
Right.
It was like been practicing the mentality of go and just fucking go and don't
think about it.
The worst thing that can happen is it'll sting a little bit. I mean, that was my mentality.
Or I could hit the rocks.
That was my mentality when I jumped. So
I could think of a million. Fuck. I don't know when that shit turned off, but that's fucking lit. The audio is still there.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
all right, cool.
And we're
Is it
back.
on now?
Yeah, it's on.
And we're back.
All right, dope. So, like, as I was saying, out of the 3 of us,
Yeah.
I may be the craziest one, but they said no, and he said Have you went in Raw? And I was like, yes. All right. So that's pretty much the recap. That's pretty much the recap of what was going on. But anyways, what I was going to say is that when you do something that you like think you shouldn't do, but you know you have to, right? But the fact that it jeopardizes your safety in a total, that is the moment personally that I feel alive. You know, the most alive is when your life is at stake, right? So like when it goes up to like, let's bring it relevant, you know, that hike up into the mountains, right?
Yeah.
So when I looked up at that like peak, I mean, if it wasn't as bad of weather as what it was, I definitely would have gone. Yeah. Like there's no doubt I would have gone hiking up that thing, and chances are I probably would have done some climbing as well, you know, and that was just to get that shot. But the fact is that when it comes to something that like you feel like you shouldn't do, but a part of you says you have to do, and it jeopardizes your life, you feel the most alive in that moment. Like, have you guys ever come to like a near-death experience or something like that? Like, I mean, I know you have.
You don't have to ask him.
I don't know how deep you want to get on.
I don't have to ask you, all right? Okay, long story short, this guy was in a car accident.
We can talk about dying if you guys want.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that in a different podcast, most likely. But like, if you come into like a really like near-death experience, or like you feel like you're so for most of your viewers, like you go and you get caught by your mom doing something you definitely shouldn't do, right? And you have that feeling of rush. I don't like say you get caught fucking or something like that, right?
Okay, well, okay. Yeah, I mean,
so
yeah,
like
sure.
you have that rush going through your body or something like that, or hell, even like your girlfriend's dad walks in the room and you have to jump out the window, like something like that. Okay, so that rush
sounds like super like speaking from experience. Like you looked at me like you were like you got caught.
Hush.
If you haven't got caught, what have you been doing?
Hey, you never know. But like that rush that goes through your system, that's the goal for me in a sense. Okay. So like that feeling of like your life is in the balance.
Yeah.
That's the feeling. Even to get that photo, just that one photo, that's the feeling that I crave at the moment, you know?
Well, see, I think the thing for you and maybe for anyone else who is trying to live that kind of life is to focus in on that. And it shouldn't be a for now thing, because one of the things with photo, and I'm sure you are heavy into it. You shouldn't have the for now mindset about it. Like this is this
is lifetime.
Right. And I don't think that changes when it comes to like something you believe in, like, and you're super passionate about. This is when like you start to fuck with me like emotionally, because when I say I believe in something, like I have no reason to lie to you. I have no reason to candy coat shit for anyone. I have no reason to. There's no game. I play no game. I'm honest. You ask me a question, I can be honest about it. And when it comes to passion, like if this is something you believe in and you're 100% invested in it, you put your time into it, your talent, your energy, like you take the criticism and you go through all the motions and shit. There's no reason why there's any ifs, ands, or buts. If you're invested in even seeking the thrill of risking your life for the perfect image in any instance, you have to invest that same sort of energy in that pursuit of life. Like it doesn't change. There's no, this is it for now. Because the unfortunate, circumstance of life is death. And the only thing you can do in this instance is pursue that same thing consistently, because if that's what you want, that's the only thing that's going to make you feel alive.
Exactly. I heard
Amen. I agree.
Yes,
God
definitely.
damn. Hallelujah.
I heard this quote recently as I was watching a movie. You know, one of the I love travel movies and stuff like that. Like this one was like Hector in the Search of Happiness. I mean, you
Yeah.
guys probably have never heard of it. It's a Canadian movie, very small. But I mean, you guys probably heard of Hot Fuzz or something like that. You know,
Yes.
it's the same actors, right? But
Simon.
Blonde
Dude.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, definitely. So, like it's the same actor, and he's going around searching for happiness. And he
Right.
heard this person he heard this verse from a monk, and he said, like shit. What was it? It was just on the tip of my tongue. My bad. If you don't go and do something to the fullest, is it worth it?
Right.
You know? And also, this one that also spoke to me, the main focus of the subject, like a person who is afraid of death is afraid of life. You know, and that one really spoke to me in a sense, because it sounds, if you just think of the words, it sounds ludicrous, right? It sounds insane. But when you think of it as in a person who lives, like even in the most like a suburban sense, right? A person who is afraid or is like trying to figure out what to do for like their spouse's like anniversary or something like
Yeah.
that, you know, like are they gonna do this? Like should I do this? Would they like it, or should I do this because I know they like it? You know,
Yeah.
that feeling of indecisiveness and that feeling of the fact of failure is holding people back.
Agreed.
So like
And like just to
in a life sense,
right? But like simply, like there are a multitude of things that this can play into.
exactly. Yes, this like this tiny little excerpt that I said, like if you are afraid of death, you are afraid of life. That tiny little excerpt can go into multiple things. It doesn't necessarily have to portray in death, or like it doesn't have to like add up to death or life, you know, life or death situations. But like that sort of mentality when you come in and attack subjects or attack
Right.
passions and stuff like that, is like it's inseparable. You know, you have to you can't have both at the same time. You know, personally, when it comes to taking a photo, I live by that passion.
Yeah.
So when it comes to if I go and take a photo, if I need or if I want a photo of a peak, for example, just to portray relevance here, I want to get up to that peak to no cost. I mean,
Yes.
today it was just the weather was bad and I had other people with me. But if personally, if it was just me up there, I would have kept going. You know, but I had other people with me, and I didn't want them to get in any harm and stuff like that and stuff.
True.
But I wanted that peak.
We'll
and
get
stuff
it.
like that.
It's not going
We will.
anywhere.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
Not, no, that mountain is not moving. All right,
It's not
that
moving.
mountain,
Not moving.
that mountain is not
Be
moving
there, bro.
at all. Yeah,
I can
but
guarantee you anything.
but yeah, that passage, that excerpt, that line, that verse from the movie is. It spoke 1,000 words to me.
Agreed.
It's like 7 words, 8 words, but that's spoken to the soul. You know?
I agree with that.
And like when it comes to choosing your passion over death and stuff like that, that's an obvious answer.
Yeah.
I believe in that mentality as well. I have it even tattooed on me. It says, if you're damn, what does it say? I just had it a second ago. You'll never live if you're too scared to die. Right here.
Definitely. That's a fact right there.
I agree. I think that it's super interesting because I've lived a decent amount of my life very in a cocoon kinda and not trying to break out, not trying to just kind of complacent.
We're here to help.
With how things are going, and as I started to transition in, so for instance, this whole accident happens. I lose my fucking life for a few minutes. I'm unconscious for a month. And I think about that. And the fear of death drives people. So I can elaborate on this because I think I understand it very thoroughly. But the fear of death puts people in a position to where they're so precautious about the way they live their life that they think that it's going to prevent their death. And death is inevitable. It comes for us all. And depending on how you want to live your life under those circumstances is entirely up to you. Now, you have the choice whether to live an exceptionally extravagant life, which comes at the risk of pursuing things that kind of are caustic to death, or you can live a very safe and sheltered life, which does not give you the excitement and validation that you could get from life.
Definitely.
And I think that it's unnecessary that people live their life that way because through like all the just the outlets that we have as people, there's all these things that kind of show you that no matter what you do or how you do it, people risk in a multitude of ways. Like just with photography, right? You go through all these great lengths to get a good photo. People risk money, people risk time, people risk all these different things. And regardless of where you're taking these risks at, you can benefit from it some way, somehow, if you're willing. But if you're not, then you kind of live this very cut and dry life, and there's no excitement. There's no. I risk shit all the time. I didn't get followers or subscribers or any of this shit because I wasn't taking chances and I wasn't investing time or money or any of these things. It comes at like a sacrifice, and like sometimes that's time, sometimes that's like
money,
sometimes that's fucking energy. Like shit is draining, but if you're doing it for something you believe in or something you can kind of tie your soul into, there's
worth it.
Yeah, right. There's no reason that it's not worth it.
Exactly.
And it becomes something that's fucking great. And you have to be willing to think like that. And a lot of people aren't like open-minded to those kind of ideas, but hopefully you hope that people come around to those kind of things, but sometimes they don't. And, people live their whole lives being fucking sheltered and they don't take the risks, and they live, you don't want to be the kind of person that regrets the life they've lived because they haven't taken those chances.
Definitely. I definitely believe in that. I mean, like I had one of those experiences where it was like my life or the picture in a sense. I was up in Ireland when I went to go and take this photo. It was a beautiful photo. I mean, I was an amateur, so it wasn't the best. It couldn't be like compared to the pictures I take now. But there was this one photo that I thought was the absolute best. It was up in Ireland, and it was of a photo on top of one of the cliffs of Moher, and it was of a tree. And that was where like our tour had ended up, and we were out there looking out over the tree and like out across the sea and stuff like that. And it was crazy. And, but what I did was to get that photo of that tree on top of that cliff. You could probably see it in my Instagram towards the bottom. Was I walked down the road, and there was this cinder block, like road guard, right?
Yeah.
And right at the end of that road guard was the edge of the cliff. And I climbed on top of that to get that photo because I didn't want that road guard in my picture, right?
Yeah.
No. You wanted that clean picture.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I got on top of that road guard, but there was also 40-mile-an-hour winds going over that cliff.
That sounds sketchy.
Yeah. So I was on top of that road guard getting that photo, and I was being swayed back and forth due to those wind gusts. and getting that photo. I ended up getting the photo, but like I almost fell. Like my foot was on the edge to get that photo, and I almost fell. My foot slipped, my other foot caught. It stayed steady. Like if I would have taken that tumble, if I would have taken that fall, I wouldn't be here at this moment.
Yeah.
And it's all about like what would you do to push yourself forward, to get that next like, in a sense, not necessarily for the likes, but to get that, to push yourself in your own,
seek satisfaction.
Not necessarily to seek satisfaction, because your own satisfaction, it's good and all. Yeah. But to progress yourself in total, that's the main goal. Like by the time I'm done with this, and by the time I'm like 50 years old, right? I want to be not only 10 times better than I am now, and not 10 times willing to do what it needs to take than I am now, but like 100 to 1,000 times willing. It's about that progression phase, and
you just want to seem like it's worth it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this right here, this little experience that I had really pushed that progression just a little bit forward to show what I was capable of, mind and body. What about you, Matt?
Jesus, dude. That was just a whole rant. But no, I don't even remember what the original question was. Shit.
What would you do?
I would do anything. Like, I've never had any like life-threatening situations just like that. I mean, I just started like 6 months ago, if that. But in the future, people could say that they're willing to do anything until it comes to it,
Yeah.
So I would say that I am, but like, you never know until you're getting ready to go do that thing. But personally, I feel like I would if we didn't have Alexis with us. Like, all three of us, I don't know about you, Chris, but like
I probably was down.
You probably was down. As long as we were down, keep fucking climbing that fucking mountain. But like, I didn't want her to freeze because I invited her, which none of us were prepared. But still, like, I was ready to send it. Like, how much further? I don't know. But you never know until you push yourself. And like us three, if we keep going on adventures, we'll definitely see each other's limits.
Definitely. And the goal is to push each other's limits.
Push.
Right? Not to see them, but to push past. Create new limits, farther limits, harder limits.
I agree. We've been talking for 51 minutes. It doesn't feel like 51 minutes.
No, it doesn't. It's going fast, huh?
But shit, dude.
We got one more question to pass.
My question is, my question to kind of try and wrap this up. How? I don't know how to ask that.
What about what are you trying to ask?
Wait, you got a question?
It was about the channels. Like,
okay.
Where we see our channels.
I wasn't. Oh shit!
How many more questions do we have?
You forgot about that one, didn't you? Yeah, no. What was your question? Ask it.
No, that's actually still like a better question because I hardly had one formulated. Like
right.
But where you see your channel?
Yeah,
so like,
where do you see your channel going?
Followers, and then like just content and involvement in like the internet community. For me, I believe I see. I can't speak for the community, but. Because who knows who'll be interested in my shit. But I believe that I want to gear my channel in a direction to where people are interested in what I'm doing in my persona. And my persona is very similar to who I am as a person regardless. So there's not much change there. But I want people to fucking just be interested in something and kind of get people to gauge their level of like activity and I want people to be cognizant. I want people to think. I want people to be more active. And I want to be kind of like a beacon for people. That's it. I don't care about money. I don't care about meeting celebrities. I don't like none of that shit is my focus really. There are people who hit me up now. I'm very consistent on on messaging people back and talking to people on Facebook, talking to people on Instagram, YouTube, whatever the fuck the case may be. And when they talk to me, I'm more concerned with how they're doing than how they feel about what I'm doing. And like I care about people, and the only reason I make content is so that way I make people feel some sort of way. And as long as I can continue to do that and it grows and I'm reaching more people and doing more for people by making fucking just anything, that's it for me. I'm satisfied. Like I said, the money thing, all this other shit, it's like means very little to me. Very, very fucking little. You could ask anyone. Like you see like the shit I invest in. I just want the fucking equipment to do it. That's right, it. Yeah. Other than that, I give zero fucks. But yeah, I just want to reach people. The more people you reach, the bigger your message. And the message that I try to preach is just fucking consideration. I think consideration and self-awareness are super important.
Definitely.
Agreed, yeah.
What about you, Matt?
Where I want to see my channel going right now, as a beginner, like even before like we're gonna start, I just want to put the content out there, like just to get used to it, you know?
Right.
Get used to being behind the camera, in front of the camera, speaking in the videos, but like more of a like travel type thing of like exploring different places, showing them this place or that place. But eventually I wanted to become like a tutorial type of channel. It's like once I acquire the knowledge, I want to show the world like this is how you could do this, but like make it still like genuinely good content. Because there's a lot of content out there that are informational, but it's just like super dry, you know. Yeah. And you need a lot better content. Don't know what the hell that was.
Is your house haunted? It's haunted, isn't it?
No, we're good.
But eventually I want it to be like a how-to channel and like just try to help people like just starting off like how I am right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you, James.
I do that a lot, actually. The how-tos, it's a definite thing that we need. And there's a lot of them out there that are really dry.
Really dry.
So we should do how to.
Dude,
we should do a how to video.
Yeah. You take one of the content of one of the videos and stuff like that, and you say, okay, so this is what he said, but this is how to do what he said how to do.
Just entirely create a format for like how tos.
Oh,
like,
definitely.
So this is how tos. Like you create a framework for people, and they follow this framework to make how to
dumb
videos.
it down in a sense.
Yeah,
right?
We could fuck the game up.
Definitely fuck it up. No.
What about you?
So mine, I mentioned this to him, and actually to him over text, to be honest. But like when I start my YouTube video, I've actually taken a lot of thought to it, because there's a lot of like photography videos, a lot of how-tos, a lot of semi-travel, you know.
Yeah.
But there's not a whole lot of extreme polyathlete photography.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's very difficult to get that. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to mix videography with photography and like show the travel aspect and how to get to the destinations where a lot of these people do the polyathlete like activities, like mountain biking, canyoning, like skydiving, wind walking, like windsurfing and stuff like that. All of them combined, like all of these like really extreme activities, and getting a photo from each one, and while competing, like not necessarily competing, but while completing each task along the way. I am sort of like giving myself a challenge for when as soon as I start this channel, it's going to be how many extreme activities I can do within the year. Okay. And the goal is like I've been asked by a couple of people like what my inspiration is, right? And I for a long time it's been Peter McKinnon, Josh Jack, you know, like all those guys. I don't even know
who Josh Jack is.
And oh, you don't?
No.
You're missing out.
Damn.
So, but yeah, no, like Peter McKinnon, Josh Jack, all the big guys, you know, and like I realized that it's not Peter McKinnon and Josh Jack per se. It's the fact that those two, especially Peter McKinnon, does not have any competition. Yeah. That's what's pushing me forward. Because not only like does he not have competition, but the fact is like I'm gonna be his competition.
Oh, right. You calling him out?
That's a good. But that's a good mindset.
That's my goal personally. Like he does not have any. He travels all around the world. He has comedy and content, but there's 3 separate things that bring YouTube together: comedy, how-to videos and content, and extreme.
See, I disagree. And the reason I want to say this is because content. So you have to understand like algorithm, and the YouTube algorithm is very random. And no one really understands the YouTube algorithm except for the people who work at YouTube and work with the system. But as far as competition, the only thing I can see with that is so you were in the car earlier. And you were talking to me, and you were talking about videography, and you were saying like shit about competition, and I completely understand competition, and like I understand why it's necessary. I understand how it can be healthy and how it can help you grow and develop. But the only thing I disagree with about competition is I never will compete with you. I will never compete with you, with anyone in my life. The biggest competition is myself.
Right.
And, true. And I just can't look at someone else and be like, I have to pass you.
No, the competition that I'm talking about isn't him per se. It's the number of views he has. Right. It's not him, it's the audience. Okay. So the fact that he has, say, what was it? It was like 2.2 million or something like that, right?
I think 3 right
now. Okay, so it's like 3.3, it's like 3 something million. And like when I start, obviously I'm not going to have a whole lot. I mean, I understand that. But when by the time it becomes competitive, what is the time that I start taking his viewers from him? You know, that's the competition. It's not the competition of his videos versus mine. It's the competition of his views versus mine. Right. You know? So when it comes to like the fact that when it comes to photography and videography, the majority of people say, oh yeah, Peter McKinnon. You know? Now, when I start up, my goal is to have them say, oh yeah, Peter McKinnon and James Bixler. Yeah. Or hell, even James Bixler and Peter McKinnon. Okay?
I understand where you're coming from.
So
I understand.
The competition isn't video and video. He's very good, top notch. But give me some time and I'll be better. That's the goal.
I mean, I think, so for me, I think that it's like unquantifiable. You know what I mean? Like there's all these opinions about photo, and photo has never been about. So when you look at the history of camera, and like you start talking about like camera obscura and like the invention of film for photography, like all that shit it's never been about who was better. I think that it's more of a concern for the expression of the art, and
I don't disagree with you. No.
Right. And it's just something that when you take the opinion out of it, it's like unquantifiable, because there's no numbers aside from views and popularity, which comes from consistency and content over time. Right. Like it's not something that even if you put a vote to it, which is opinion, and opinion comes from personality, comes from all these different attributes that are a part of this vote per se. Say if people were to vote between the two of you, and say you got to that point where you guys were at a level with views and subscribers and all this shit, it would still be unquantifiable because that vote would be based on opinion. And it's not like saying 2 + 2 is 4. 2 + 2 + 2 is 4 is quantifiable. It's a metaphor.
All right, cool. So, anyways, cool.
No, it's
I don't know.
It's already synced.
All right. So, anyways, so what I was saying is that like in this democracy, even though art, like say mine and yours it's non-comparable. Even if my perfect is like and your perfect, you can't compare them.
Right.
But in this democracy, when it comes to a vote or when it comes to views and when it comes to likes and stuff like that, or even subscribers, there is a number one. There's always going to be a number one.
Right.
And the fact is that Peter McKinnon in the photography game is the number one, and no one has come close to him at all recently. And the fact, my goal is to not only come close but to surpass him, and that's just in the politics game of YouTube. I personally think, in all honesty, even like years down the road, even if he like when he keeps promoting videos and I keep promoting videos and stuff like that, and I get up to his level and even surpass him, he will always be better than me in my mind. There's not going to be a change in that. But to the people, I'm going to be better than him. That's the goal.
All right. Well,
Shit.
I think it'd be interesting to see. Like as I said before, I'm very like observant and I like watching. I care a lot about data and information, and I think it would be interesting to see. Don't doubt it at all because I understand the severity of circumstance and opportunity, but you know. I'm curious, and I believe it. I don't doubt anyone who says they're going to do some shit. So it would be definitely interesting to see. I think we ran time for this one.
Yeah.
So we're on like an hour and 8 minutes.
Definitely, we're very long. This is a very long.
But
I don't know what else we expected.
let's say thank you guys for watching. Christian Tejeda.
James Bixler, Travel Seeker Official.
Matthew Seraphin, Matthew __Seraphin.
I knew there was 2 fucking underscores
There's 2.
in there.